Hello all. I want to share another restoration that I completed on a Zenith Consoltone. It's a table model radio, model 6D029 from 1946. The radio has walnut veneer, and it also has a very unique inverted V-shaped black dial. It's also nicknamed the Boomerang. The radio is a broadcast only, has 6 tubes, a combination of octals and loctal tubes, has a self-contained Wavemagnet antenna, and uses a permanent magnet loudspeaker. A little quick history on the radio. The radio came to me through a good friend of mine that I've known for about 15 years. The radio belonged to his mother, had been in their family for a period of time, and of course had not been usable or playable. He knew I had a hobby to restore radios, so I gladly took this on as the next project. So as you can see through the photos, a little TLC will be required to clean the cabinet back up. The cabinet has numerous locations that we have nails holding the cabinet together. Glue blocks are missing. There are also some very deep scratches on the top of the cabinet. Nothing though that we can't take care of during the restoration process. So I moved on to the disassembly of the radio. Here's the Wavemagnet antenna being removed. Again, a little repair will be required on it. And then a quick look at the inside of the chassis. Again, a lot of dust. No tubes are installed, and you'll see some wires there that look like they've been spliced and taped. We'll do a little bit closer look at that in just a moment. After a peep inside at the chassis, I went on and removed the chassis from the wooden cabinet. Here's just a quick glance inside the cabinet from the rear. Again, the chassis itself. Looking at it from the front side, the beautiful black dial that I'd mentioned. As previously noted, the wires attached to the output transformer have been spliced at some point in time. A close-up shot of the variable tuning condenser full of dust. And a few more photos of the underneath side of the chassis, again depicting the vintage components. In addition, a lot of the rubber wire required replacement as well. So a little work ahead of us on this one, but it should be a rather straightforward restoration. Here's a top side view of the chassis after removing the dust. With the initial cleaning of the top side of the chassis, I moved on to the electronic restoration, replacing again the wax and paper caps and the electrolytic capacitors. I did leave the electrolytic can on top. I did not restuff that can. I did mount 2 terminal strips and mounted I think it was 3 electrolytic capacitors underneath here as depicted in the photos. As suspected, the output transformer was not original, and through the repair history, someone had replaced the speaker and the output transformer with the improper one. I happened to have an old chassis laying around, removed the output transformer and speaker, did a few quick repairs on the speaker itself, and cleaned up the wiring that attached to the output transformer as depicted here in the photos. With the electronic side of the restoration complete, I moved my focus toward the cabinet restoration. Again, what you're seeing here are a couple photos of the cabinet prior to the restoration. The front of the radio had a very small piece of veneer missing. I did my best to replace that with a piece of walnut veneer cut in a V shape. From some of the earlier photos, you could see the top of the radio had some deep scratches. I spent some time here trying to sand those out without, again, going down through the top layer of the original walnut veneer. I took advantage of a beautiful spring day and went outside and stripped the cabinet with lacquer thinner steel wool, trying to remove the old toner and lacquers from the cabinet. With the cabinet stripped, I moved on to some final sanding, wood filler, and grain filler on the walnut veneer. Did my best to try to cover up some of the original imperfections as well as the damage around the chip veneer. Toner lacquers were used to try to reproduce the original finish. Again, a couple photos here of the sides and the front of the radio after the restoration was complete. Again, not perfect. You can still see some imperfections around where the chip piece of veneer was, but again, I'm still learning how to do these repairs. Overall, I'm pleased with it, and I know my good friend will. Again, electronically, it works great, and the cabinet looks a heck of a lot better than it did before the restoration started. So thanks again for stopping by, checking out this restoration of this Zenith Consoltone table model 6D029 from 1946. I also wanted to say thank you for my new subscribers. That means a lot to me to see the numbers creep up a little bit. Again, thanks for subscribing, stopping by, and checking out this restoration.